Pokemon's 30-year anniversary is right around the corner, and to kick off the celebration, it's been announced that Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen are coming to the Nintendo Switch. I know this has caused a lot of very mixed feelings, and I understand that there's a very large elephant in the room that needs to be addressed, but to keep from ruining a potential Pokemon company sponsor in the future, that's not the kind of video that I'm making today. Instead, I'm going to be going through the trailers and breaking down all the information that you need to know regarding the Gen 3 Switch ports, so that if you do want to buy one of these games, or both, you'll be fully informed and not at risk of wasting any money. Let's get into it. So yeah, chat, they are porting Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen to the Nintendo Switch. It doesn't seem like it's a remake or like a upgraded version, but there are a few things that you did not have access to, or currently have access to, actually, if you have a physical version, a legal version of Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen. There are a few things that we're gonna get into that that they have changed, but for the most part, it's pretty much just a port right over from the Game Boy. So let's go ahead and get into this trailer really quickly. Still sick, you know what I'm saying, chat, but I'm here. I'm sorry if I sound like crap. Some excitement doesn't fade away no matter. Damn, they didn't give me a chance to read that. So they're going the nostalgia route, you know what I'm saying? Chat, let me know, man. How old were you guys when you first played this game? This was one of my first Pokemon games ever, actually, now that I think about it. Or it might have been my first, I don't know. Turn this on a little bit, it's loud. But I have very distinct memories of being in the car as a kid on road trips, playing this game on my Game Boy Advance SP. So I definitely feel the nostalgia that has people buying this right now. Here we are fighting against Blue, Champion Blue. Okay, yeah, so they do have the legendary birds and Mewtwo in here available to be caught. Re-experience the adventure that immersed you then. Yep. So like I was saying before, I think it is available now, maybe, potentially. I don't know if you can download it and play it, but it is showing up on people's Switches at the moment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They're just porting the game straight over. Let's go ahead and watch the little intro though for both of these games really quickly, just for the sake of nostalgia, chat. Just for the sake of nostalgia. But if it officially comes out on the 27th, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think I ever actually played LeafGreen either as a kid. I'm almost positive that I never played LeafGreen at all. And then we got the iconic menu screens here. But in any case, that's what's basically going to be going on. The two games will come out on the 27th. Currently, they are, let me look up the pricing for this. So it's actually going to be $29.99 Canadian, which means, I want to say that's $19.99 US. That's cheap relatively. $20, like, when you think about it, like, originally I was saying the same thing, Shadow Anime, is that it's expensive. It's $20 US, but if you want to get a copy of Pokemon FireRed in 2026, see right here, this must be what they're talking about. This is $300 for an original cartridge. But yeah, essentially you're gonna be able to buy the game for $29.99 Canadian if you're in Canada, and $19.99 US. But like I was saying, there's some changes that have been made. So starting with this, Cerebi was reporting on them adding connectivity for Pokemon Home to Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen. Now, I feel like to the average person, this probably won't be that big of a deal. Most people probably won't care about moving their Pokemon out of Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen, but I can see this being useful for you if you're, I don't know, say you're doing like a living dex, right? That you're trying to, like a full living dex of all the 1,000 plus Pokemon and trying to move them to Pokemon Home. I would understand if that's what you're doing, but that is one of the things that they did change. So I'm pretty sure it's essentially confirmed now. I think they had it in the listing. Let me see if they added it back to the listing actually. Okay, so I can't find it anywhere on this page. They originally had it in the listing here, but I believe it's been removed. But essentially that's going to be a feature, is you're going to be able to move Pokemon out of FireRed and LeafGreen from your Switch, but you won't be able to move them into the game. So that's part of, you know what I mean? I guess they have to make a whole bunch of changes to the way the game works to be able to make it compatible with Pokemon Home. And they don't want people moving Pokemon back in. And there's also going to be, I think this is Japan only. Yes, only available in Japan, but there is a physical version of this game here. So they have the original art here, which is really, really great. Obviously not the same Game Boy box, obviously, because it's for the Switch. But it'll come with the physical cartridge, I believe, and then these 3 orbs here, this little display case, which looks pretty cool. We can have nice things in North America, obviously, because of scalpers. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering, are these going to be the new Switch 2 game cartridges? Because as you guys know, it's just a license to the game. It's like a physical cartridge that you put in that allows you to download the digital version of the game, so you don't actually own it per se. It's a license. Yeah, so there's gonna be a physical version of the game. Japan only, like I said, but you know, I'm sure lots of people in the West are gonna be able to get their hands on this, especially because scalper culture isn't as big in Japan, and they're allowed to have nice things. But essentially, the original games, FireRed and LeafGreen, each had their own sets of exclusives. So in FireRed, you have the Arbok line, you have the Archon line, the Oddish line, the Psyduck line, Sheldon line, the Caesar line, the Elekid line, without Electivire, of course, because Electivire was added later on. But then you have the Wooper line, the I think this is, what is this, Murkrow? Is that the Pokemon? Quillfish line, Delibird line, or line, as if these Pokemon evolve. Delibird, Skarmory, and what Pokemon is this? Is this Blossom? Yes, the Blossom. And then of course in LeafGreen, you have the Sandslash line, the Vulpix line, the Slowbro line, the Weepinbell line, Staryu and Starmie, Pinsir, Magby and Magbar. You get the Azumarill line, Misdreavus, Sneasel, the Remoraid line, and the Mantine line as well. Originally in FireRed and LeafGreen, I think FireRed allowed you to catch, through an event way back in the day, they allowed you to catch Deoxys, and it was Deoxys's, I want to say, the attack form, and then the defense form in LeafGreen, respectively. Which brings us to our next point, which is that people are speculating right now that they're gonna essentially revive those events from back in the day that are no longer available now through physical, legal versions of the game that allow you to catch Deoxys, Lugia, and Ho-Oh. So these are Mystic Ticket Pokemon, and then the Aurora Ticket for Deoxys. I think the words that they use is, it's mostly confirmed that you're going to be able to catch these Pokemon again in FireRed. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to do that the legal way, the non-emulator way, you'd be able to do so. Apart from that, Nintendo also was asked, you know, will it be possible to trade or battle Pokemon with other players? And it looks like you're going to be able to do it just like you would have done it back in the day. So Nintendo said all the game's original connectivity features will work just as they did on the Game Boy Advance via local wireless connection. Okay, there you go. And it'll be possible to connect with up to 4 players in the Pokemon Wireless Club located on the 2nd floor of any Pokemon Center. Players can access union rooms to trade, battle, or play a minigame. Online play is not supported, unfortunately. I was gonna say I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to play cross-platform with people who have the original Switch and the Switch 2, but I can't imagine them not allowing players to do that, especially since this isn't a exclusive for the Switch 2. So those are basically all the changes that are taking place. I guess they're modernizing the features just a little bit for the Switch port of FireRed and LeafGreen. If people want to be able to get the game legally in 2026 without needing an emulator, especially because, like, you know, the Switch is convenient because you can just have it on you and you can play it essentially anywhere. If you want to have an emulator, you're going to need to either play on a device that supports emulators, like your phone or your computer, or a handheld gaming device that has support for emulators. I don't know if it makes the game more accessible now. Maybe not more accessible, but maybe more convenient. I think it makes playing the game in 2026 more convenient, which, you know what I mean, is not a terrible thing. You don't have to buy it at the end of the day. If you want to continue emulating the game, then you can go ahead and do so. No skin off your nose, no money out of your pocket. It's better than getting a physical version of this game on like eBay or something and potentially either getting scammed or paying like $300 for an original cartridge for the Game Boy, and then also having to play it on either a DS or a Game Boy in 2026. But I wish they had a way for you to get the game in the West physically and actually own it. I could get behind that. Them having the games be $20 and it's a physical cartridge for your Switch that you actually own and not just have a license of the game. But like I said, we have too many scalpers in the West, so they're not even gonna bother releasing it because people are gonna be buying like 500 copies of the game. But that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you plan on buying this game, and if not, why, in the comments, and we can have a conversation about it. I'm honestly not sure if I'm gonna buy it or not. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. Maybe just to make a YouTube video. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, hype, and share. And let me know in the comments what you think of Nintendo putting these old Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch with essentially no changes. Thanks for watching. Peace.